Welcome back to Dijana News Special Edition of Rotary Friendship Exchange Program Friends. We have new guests with us. I would like to introduce you first to the guests I have, Mr. John and Mrs. Rasoli Dasley. Both of them are from Hudson, Canada. They officially joined Rotary Club in the year 1993. Rotary is an active volunteer with the Hudson Bay Rotary Club and was named the Citizen of the Year by the club. They both volunteers for the local art council, which presents 4 live concerts and several art shows each year. Rotary has had a cancer as a registered nurse. She has worked in a wide variety of fields within the profession, but has spent most of her time in Smile multi-service hospital, dealing with everything from emergency to senior care. I have another guest, Jane Woolhouse. She is from Essenboy Rotary Club, Canada. She is an active member in this club. Jenny joined this club in the year 2016. For the past 2 years, she has been involved with organizing the dinner theater fundraisers, and this past year she helped the beer tasting fundraiser. Jane has also actively participated in Rotary in other ways, including hosting a barbecue and farm tour for an exchange student and Rotary members, selling Rotary calendars and purchasing club's t-shirts. I welcome you all to this session of Dijana News. You all are here on Rotary Friendship Exchange, and the aim of this session is to let my viewers know what Rotary is all about. So I'll open the session by asking my friend, could you please throw some light on what Rotary is all about?
Rotary is about promoting understanding and goodwill amongst people throughout the world, and the Rotary Friendship Exchange in particular is about building goodwill and new friendships, and we've certainly got a good start at that here with the Rotarians here in India. We're being hosted and treated very well, and we're looking forward to hosting them in Canada this coming summer.
That's wonderful. As he said, they'll be hosting Rotarians who are hosting them here in India. Under this Rotary Friendship Exchange, it's a cultural exchange program where people from clubs from abroad visit India, stay with their families, learn culture, and understand how and what they are doing for Rotary. And likewise, there is the people whom they are visiting, they are supposed to visit them back home, and they similarly learn their culture, learn how the Rotary is doing, and understand what projects they have done in the past. It's a wonderful program being done by the Rotary to bringing friends closer and working for the mankind. I would like to know how are you feeling coming to India and spending time with the Indian Rotarians?
Yeah. Well, it's a big change for my wife and I, because we come from a very isolated part of Canada. We live 16 kilometers away from the nearest village, and that village has only 1,600 people. The nearest large center, and I say large, which is about 350,000, is more than a 3-hour drive away from us. So the traffic and the number of people here in India has been a big shock to us.
But a pleasant shock.
Yeah, must be. It's a big country with huge population, still developing. You being from a part of a developed world,
Yeah, I've
what
loved the
differences do you see in your part of the world and developing India now?
Probably in some ways the infrastructure is quite different. So what we're seeing for homes and developing, building projects and so on is fairly different. But I also see that in some ways India is moving forward with the highways and that kind of thing. And but there are differences in the construction techniques, and we're finding that all quite interesting. So I'm quite happy to have a driver drive me around because I have no desire to try to do it myself. But I just find that there's so much to see that there isn't a mile or a kilometer that goes by that there isn't something to view. And I think what impacts me the most about coming to India is the fact that it appeals to all the senses. The tastes are different, what we see is different, what we smell is different, because even when I wake up in the morning I smell different things than I do at home. But I'm really enjoying that and find that to be a very positive part of our visit to India. And
That's wonderful. Is this your first visit to India? You've been earlier to India as well.
no, this is my first visit to India, so yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful to have you here.
Yeah.
Since I have two females with me, I have a question to ask. What is the status of human rights and the standards in Canada as far as female is concerned?
Want to answer that first?
Well, we have a good progress, I think. They're giving us a chance, women, a chance to get equal pay, equal rights, and all the things that we've been struggling for. And I think we've actually got there. There's always more to do to get ahead of that way. But as far as we have the rights, and I think with that will come higher education and higher jobs, and I think we'll do quite well in that aspect. I think it makes,
That's wonderful. We keep hearing right of equality, and we look forward to you. As I said, you are a developed country, and we are still developing. Here also, you'll find a lot of changes, and it's happening as far the right of equality goes. We seriously say someday sooner we're going to match. We're trying to catch you guys. I have one more question for you guys. I belong to Sikh community, and I have heard and learned and seen that you have various Sikhs living in Canada. How have they helped in the development of Canada?
definitely being used to having different people around makes a big difference in getting to know and respect and beginning to understand. In our area, we haven't had that opportunity.
Okay.
So, but in the cities where my children are and stuff, there is, they've had encounters and stuff, and I think that makes everyone grow that way.
That's wonderful. Rotary has done wonderful for the mankind in terms of eradicating polio and working on some other devastating and serious diseases. Can you tell our viewers what all are the areas which Rotary is working upon apart from polio?
Well, each of the clubs across the world usually work in several different avenues of service. So in addition to the international service, such as the eradication of polio, each of the clubs tries to serve their local community as well, and the community within their country. And I know with our own club, we have quite a strong emphasis on youth development, because the youth are our future. And if we can contribute to their well-being and bring them along, we're going to have a better society in the future. The Rotary Foundation, of course, is the world's largest charitable foundation, and it does work both locally, nationally, and internationally in each of the countries where Rotary exists.
One of the other areas I think that Rotary's been instrumental in helping particularly is in areas of emergency type of aid given for either conflict situations or for disasters, and particularly through things like Shelter Box, and there are other organizations that they're attached to as well. but Rotary has been certainly a main driver behind offering emergency shelter and or tools to help when there's been hurricanes, typhoons, drought, or flood or famine, to help people who are devastated and really have been left with nothing, either through conflict, through war, and having to move as refugees. And there's a huge humanitarian need there, and it's wonderful that Rotary is involved with providing care for people who have been devastated through either conflict or natural disaster.
That's wonderful, helping people who really need you when they are in a bad shape. I would like to tell you guys, it's a concept of giving something back which you have got from the society. This is what Rotary is working on, and they're trying to encourage people that try and help people whatever way, whatever manner you can. Friends, you have been here in India. How have you been liking it, and is there an influence of Indian culture? You've been watching it, you've been listening, hearing from your part of the world. How's it all about?
Well, I think that I've been very pleasantly surprised of how, well, I shouldn't say surprised, but the welcome that we've had is just overpowering almost. It's been so good. And the foods and everything that we've been experiencing has been just top notch.
I think one of the things too that happens when you travel abroad and when you meet people from other countries is that in some ways when you hear about things, so we would hear about things at home in India, but it doesn't speak to you the same way because you don't have that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
So when we have been here now and then you go back to wherever you came from, when you hear about India, your ears will perk up because now it means something more to you because you have that personal connection between what you experienced and what you're hearing. And I think you don't get that unless you've had the actual experience of being there or at least meeting people from there. But yeah, I think you grow through that, and in a way you become more educated even in the future because you've made that personal connection at the time when you're here.
Oh, that's wonderful. I know I've been traveling to various parts of the world, meeting people, getting to know them. And I know the people who haven't visited India ever, they carry a different image.
Mm-hmm.
What was your thinking before coming to India?
Oh, I kind of thought about that before I came, about what I would think that India would be like. I know that one myth of mine has been totally obliterated, and that is that I thought I might actually lose weight when I came here.
Yeah.
That is not the case. We've had a wonderful experience in Indian cuisine and having the opportunity to try the various foods. I think in some ways I thought that maybe it would be more spicy, but I think people have been kind to us in some ways. But I've had a few surprises. Today at lunch, I thought I was eating a green bean, and then when I bit into it, I found out that it was a chili. And so
That must have been very hard for you.
that was a little difficult, but thank goodness there was some yogurt on hand, so I ate some of that, but that was a bit of a surprise. But certainly I try to approach this too, that this is a learning experience, and I'm here as a guest, and I want to try to get as much out of the visit, so I'm quite willing to try all the different foods and so on. And you know, I think in some ways, as people in North America, we have seen, or our perception is that India in some ways is a poorer nation, and we, you know, to be honest, we've seen some of that, and we've had some questions about, you know, particularly today when we drove past a construction site and I saw a lot of children playing in the sand, and then we went back and I said, like, those children look like they should be in school, but I think the reality is that the parents are the children of parents who tend to migrate from job to job, and so they're not necessarily in school. It's probably more difficult for the parents to get them to school, but I think as we all, for the most part, recognize education is a way to get ahead. But on the other hand, we've seen some wonderful schools in India having visited the Emerald Heights School yesterday and the Daly College. So we also know that, you know, while some children are maybe not in school, others are receiving a very high standard of education. And the opportunity to interact yesterday with the Emerald Heights children, the students there, demonstrated, you know, how courteous they are, how passionate they are about the education that they're getting, and in some ways, I think, looking to make a change in the future for themselves and in turn for India.
Yes, I do agree with you, as you said that you saw children playing in the sand near the construction site.
Yeah.
Here, as I said, we are a developing nation. We have a huge area to cater to. We are in process of developing. Yes, safety standards is a concern, area of concern for us. Is not nowhere near to what standards you guys carry. But we are sure the government is working on the safety standards to take care of the people who are working on the projects. And hopefully soon when you visit next time,
Yes.
you will find
Yeah.
a lot of changes there.
Yeah. Well, and I think we are already seeing that there are changes underway. Things have, you know, even just in talking to people and seeing the things that we've seen, that we can see that progress is being made. And someone indicated to us, and I think that's very true, that progress is coming at a fairly fast pace in India. And you know, we're certainly impressed by that. And it's not that there's no problems in Canada. So, you know, there are problems with every population where you don't always reach everybody. But yeah, I guess the best thing is to hope that we can all move forward to something better. So, yeah.
Before closing, I would like to go back to my last question. Before coming to India, was there any element of doubt in your mind regarding your security, regarding your safety?
Oh, I think so. I didn't fear that when we got with the Rotarians, that there would be any problem. But I think so. We have unless you visited, now we know, but I think you have a television version of India or, you know, a counter opinion of India. And for myself, I am so pleasantly happy that I have saw a different view of India.
And how do you feel now after landing here?
Oh, yeah, I would come back again
Yeah,
anytime.
wonderful, wonderful.
Anytime. Without a second thought.
We need more good stories
Yes.
in our news feeds. So often at home, we hear the bad news from around the world, whether it's from India or from some other country. And telling the good news stories, like interviewing Rotarians, is going to help people to have a better understanding of what a country is really like.
I know. See, there's some businesses have got some ways of working on. Perhaps news is one which goes on breaking stories, breaking news, and I think the negative news catch up fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for breaking news is maybe once in a while we have huge population, you may find one or the incidences happening which scares people sitting in your part of the world.
Yeah.
So
I think
we
that's true.
hope, and since we are in media industry, we will hope and see the people in our fraternity should try and give positive news as much as possible for them, and give a message that you are welcome to India, you are safe, people are there to look after you, don't worry.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the benefit of having these Rotary exchanges, because in some ways we become better ambassadors for India having been here. I mean, now we speak from personal experience. So when we're in contact with others, and we will go back to, you know, speak to the Rotary clubs and the other members, or, I mean, many of us volunteer in a number of areas in our communities or our workplace, and we then in turn will become positive ambassadors for India to say, no, it's not what you think that it is, or it's better than what you think that it might be, because now we have been here and we can speak from experience. So we
excellent. That will help Rotarians here in India
yes,
to have a much better image than what people might be thinking all about.
yeah.
Friends, it is wonderful talking to you here. We look forward you guys to see you soon, And we wish you all the very best for your career, for your health, and your trip, which you still have to carry on
Yeah.
from Bhopal, Ratlam, then going to some Rajasthan parts and Delhi. We wish you a nice and safe flight back home.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Continue watching Dijana News.